as I was for just regularly old cable, which has all these shows and also have an on-demand feature as well. All right. So we want to also, look at subscriptions are sticky. Subscriptions are sticky, especially when you pay automatically. All right. So, for example, how many of us have gym subscriptions that we aren't using regularly? Right? You pay all the time, it's automatic, and you don't go to the gym. That's money out the door. That's money that could be put towards something else. That's money that could be used in your flex fund. So if you know you're not going to use it, right? Maybe instead of doing a subscription, we need to maybe go with a pay as you go. You explain to the owners if they allow it. I want to pay monthly. If you have a personal trainer, I want to pay monthly, etc. But do an audit and maximize your subscriptions to the best of your ability, because a lot of them overlap. Like Netflix, Hulu, sometimes they show the same shows, right? I have about 6 or 7 different streaming services, because I had to cut some of them after my own audit. And, one of the things that this trip home this year has taught me is, and unlike other years, is the value of community. The value of community. And so one of the suggestions I have for y'all is we host what we call a financial vision board party. A financial vision board party. I want you to gather your friends, gather your family, and create visions of what you want, what your financial dreams are. I think it was Friday night, I went to pick up something by a business, and I met this couple, and they said they knew me. They followed the show, followed me on social media, and they had a clear vision for what they wanted their financial future to do, but they were doing it in silos. They were doing it separately. Well, let's gather people together, because what you miss, somebody else might see. What you miss, somebody else might see. So here's an example. You could have images. So for example, if you want to travel to Bali, then you have an image of Bali, or you have words representing that you want to travel to Bali. Maybe have something, a picture with you being free of debt, or you going and buying that home that you want, or finally getting that mortgage, or you starting that business that you have. It's fun. It's a visual way to stay motivated, because the reality is we all learn differently. We all learn differently. Some people learn by reading, some people learn by seeing, some people learn by discussing. All right, so have a financial vision board party with a trusted group of people, like-minded people, people with the same goal. Because if we don't have the same goal, that could cause problems. Not everybody is willing to change. Not everybody is willing to make that move and that sacrifice that you might be willing to. That's probably why, if you think of it, when you plan a group trip, you ever try planning a group trip with some friends, and then at the last minute when it's time to pay, several of them pull out? Because they're not ready. So you need to find like-minded people. It might cause you to go outside of the box. So maybe it's not friends, maybe it's not family. Maybe you put a status up on WhatsApp and you ask, like, anybody interested in this activity? Anybody wants to do this type of activity, and they should come and help you, right? Do it together. Form that community. Far too often in the black community, we're too separated. All right, and we're no different here in St. Kitts and Nevis. All right, we see other groups thriving because they work together. So let's do something together, okay? I would say another strategy would be using budget apps and AI tools. Now, AI means artificial intelligence. They're everywhere. ChatGPT, Gemini, you can't escape them now. You can't run from the technology. It's here. It is very much present. And if we don't embrace it and learn how to use it, artificial intelligence could actually take your job, right? That's just the reality of it. So I want you to consider using budgeting apps. I think in the Caribbean, there's a really good one called Blue Coins. Blue Coins, BLUECOINS. Unfortunately, they don't have automatic integration, so a lot of the things will be manual entry for now, all right? But, one of my goals for 2025 is actually to create an app like this, especially since there seems to be a move towards freedom of, transfer of data across financial institutions. So we want to use these budgeting apps, these AI tools, to track our spending, monitor investments that you may have, and save effortlessly. Okay? So no, I'm not recommending a traditional budget in Excel. We need to use technology, right? We need a dynamic budget. You have to understand that your budget is not static. Your budget is dynamic, right? And some of these apps allows us to visualize where we are. If you could visualize it, it's almost like gamifying your life, making your life into this big game, right? And a lot of us are gamers out here. I was never a gamer. I was never good at it. But if you could gamify your life, your financial life, that is, I think you could make some really good changes. I love to visualize where I am, right? I love to visualize where I am. I like to see diagrams for my investments going from left to right and upward trending. I love to see diagrams for debt going from right to left and downward trending. So all these things together is allowing me to visualize. So once again, that app, the app I'm going to recommend that you could possibly use is called Bluecoins, Bluecoins. You could also use, it used to be Mint. Mint.com was really good. I think Mint was bought out. It's now on the Credit Karma. I'm not sure if they're going to preclude people from outside of the United States to use it. But one of the apps I could tell you that will work here, that even have the EC dollar as a currency that you could put into the app, is a Bluecoins. I don't know who does it, but I learned about this app a few years ago when I did a consultancy in Grenada for the government there.
Let me ask you a question. This is an app I find intriguing. Not necessarily that I think it's a problem for me. The solution it provides. Rocket. What's it called?
What's that? Rocket.
It's this ad. It's this app that, for example, sometimes you have all these subscriptions and so on.
Oh yeah, I see them advertising, like you go on and they tell you all that you have.
Yeah, and they have a very effective ad where there's this one with a guy. He's a comedian, and he's talking about how he's paying he has 3. He found out he has 7 Netflix accounts, and he feels like a dad who he feels like a philandering dad who has a whole bunch of kids by different people that he didn't know about, So I thought that was interesting, but I'm wondering if that would work here.
I think the thing about those apps, after they find those subscriptions, the next step is you have to do a payment, right, to get out of the subscriptions. They said they could help you. You don't have to go and cancel yourself. They'll do it for you. You acknowledge the one that you want, but it comes with a fee. I think if we be a little bit intentional and just go through here, we have an average, 2-3 bank accounts, right, is my understanding. You either have national or credit union, or you have both, right? And we use those. So it shouldn't be that hard to track where your subscriptions will be coming from, where you're paying out of. So, and just log in, if you could view your transactions electronically, and search for the streaming service. You just search for the word subscription, search for the specific streaming service like Netflix, like Apple TV, Prime, etc., and then try to go from there. Because the apps are great. And the reason why those work so well in America is because in the US, you have multiple bank accounts. Because, for example, every other day I get something in the mail that basically say, hey, open a bank account, we'll give you $100. And that's all people do. They open the bank accounts and they get the $100, right? And some of them might use that $100 and sign up for that Netflix, but they forget about it. And then these accounts run to zero, right? Because they have maintenance fees and all that. You got to understand, lacking financial knowledge is a great thing for financial institutions, right? And also for streaming institutions. And some of these streaming institutions, to go back there, they are also doing, they're increasing their prices significantly. So we also have to pay attention to that as well. All right. So far, just to recap.
And of course, it's not just streaming. It's just any company that has a subscription model where you might find that you're
not
paying.
Just streaming, again, gyms and anything here. And here's my other road to financial success. This one isn't even on my list, but I just remembered because we're 6 days into January and already seeing complaints about partner hands. Say no to partner hands. They benefit you in no way. There's zero interest. There's zero return on your money. You're better saving that $1,000, $100, $200, whatever the hell it is. Can I say hell, Jam? So whatever the hell it is.
You already did.
In the bank account, right? And get interest without the risk. So why is it you're giving this random person that posts on Facebook that trying to do a partner hand group your money? And then you're out there now having to run them down. Because guess what? When one person doesn't pay into the system, the whole system collapses like a domino effect because there's no insurance. There's no insurance to make anybody go and put that $1,000 back in. No, there's a guy from Africa that developed an app called Susu that he took back to Africa to change the mindset. But the thing is, in the Caribbean, we're afraid of technology, all right? So, and the people that do these partner hands, some young, some old, some might not be as technically savvy. Like I said, six days in, I'm already seeing complaints on social media about partner hand from last year. All right, so Kititians, Nivisions, Caribbean people, anybody hear my voice, please, I beg you, say no to partner hands. They're like the worst thing you could do for yourself. It's pure risk. It is pure risk. No, there was a time when these things were relevant, when we did not have access to banks. We did not have access to commercial financial institutions. But we have that now. We have that now. Leverage what is there, right? Some interest is better than no interest. If you put your money in credit union every day, every week, every month, the same amount, guess what? When you go back, it is going to be there. You don't have to worry about it. And you know what? I know the benefit is this. The benefit is for some people who join partner hands, they bring money forward. You know, there's a big expense they want to do in, let's say, March, right? But they can't wait till March to get that money. So they do the partner hand, they get that money forward. Well, here's this. You could take a loan for that specific amount and be aggressive in paying down that loan within that same year period. That's why we have loans. That's the point of credit cards. Credit cards are for emergencies. Credit cards are for big purchases that we may not have the money to do. So we bring that money forward, right? And we commit ourselves to paying that off. So I really want you to consider, as much as possible, to stay away, please, from partner hands, Susu, whatever we call them now.
Okay, right? I don't want to take you off course, but you remember I sent you the official document from the Ministry of Finance concerning the sort of the VAT reduction, the 6-month VAT reduction. How can we use that to our advantage?
Honestly, it's
a straightforward.
It depends.
Okay.
It depends. You say 4%, right? Honestly, I don't know what they're gonna do. I honestly don't know. For some people. For businesses who spend millions, 4% matters. For a household that spends $100, $200, $500, $1,000, 4% represents from $4 to $40 in some cases.
So would it have been more, let's say, significant if it was a 7% reduction?
It would be more significant if they got rid of it completely.
But
right?
then
that would be significant.
Okay, but in that case, no, I'm with you on that.
I understand where we're going. In case then they go into how the government gets revenue, blah blah blah.
But is there anything to this thing that I always think makes sense in my head, and there's some anecdotal evidence for and against, but this thing that says if the government maybe reduced VAT, they might end up making more revenue.
Volume.
Exactly.
So here's the thing, brother. Caribbean leaders do not understand the definition of volume. It's like we think that, all right, if we want to raise $1 million and we only have 1,000 people, we're gonna charge $1,000 because that's what we estimate, 1,000 people at $1,000. But yet we didn't think about that we could get 5,000 people at $20. That's the same million, no? I see. Is my math off? I don't even know.
I don't know.
No, so yeah, it's the same.
I'm terrible at math.
Well, I don't know. Whatever it is, I think my math's off, maybe. But you get my point, though. My point is we need to understand volume. Let's think about, for example, landing taxes. The reason why airfare is so damn expensive to travel in the region is because the taxes are so high. It's not Liat, it's not Inter-Island, blah, blah, blah. It's not any of these airlines. It's the government's fault. At the center of it is government policy, because our governments don't realize that to encourage people to travel, we have to lower the prices. And the only way to lower the prices is to lower the taxes, because the fare is actually cheap. The fare is actually cheap. So, for example, if I'm traveling within the US and I'm using miles, let's say miles, you have to pay the tax, right? I'm traveling about 3,000 miles across country from the East Coast to the West Coast. I'll pay about $10 to $15 in taxes. To get that same amount of miles to come between the East Coast, I live in North Carolina, to St. Kitts, I have to pay $76 in taxes. 5 times. 5 times the amount in taxes. All right? Now, imagine if we were to then say, look at our tax policy, especially on air travel, where tourism is what? One of the major contributors to our economy and our GDP, and say, you know what? We're going to lower taxes to encourage people to come. In fact, we definitely going off course. But anyway, there was this
I disagree, but anyway.
I'm in this travel group, and it's all these foreigners coming to St. Kitts. And this one in particular stood out to me last night. He's in New Jersey or something. There's just that United flight. And he was complaining about how difficult it was to get to St. Kitts. He really wanted to come here, right? But how difficult it was and how expensive it was to come here, you know? So that's something to definitely look at. We need to basically look at volume and try to develop a strategy of volume rather than thinking that our numbers are fixed. Because if you were to look at like Anguilla went from 50,000 tourists just pre-COVID, and now they have, well over 100 and something thousand tourists in terms of stay over, not in terms of cruise. Our main tourism product is cruise, and we've pepped it up a little bit on stay over with the airport and with Sugar Mass and Music Festival. But we need to look at other markets to get volume, right? And that's been a struggle for us.
So you're saying there's something to my idea that because I'm sure you've heard me talk about the same thing you just spoke about, reducing the taxes to get
that's what I did my master's thesis on. I did my master's thesis on impediments of what impede tourism receipts, and one of the biggest things were taxes, right? Tourism is price elastic, right? St. Kitts Nevis, we got beach, sun, and sand. Antigua got beach, sun, and sand. Mexico has beach, sun, and sand. They will go to Mexico. It's the same beach, it's the same sun, it's the same sand, right?
And now it may be cheaper.
And it's significantly cheaper, and much better hotels at that, right? So we have to look at volume. So yes, you're definitely spot on.
Although they don't have to worry too much about drinking on tap water here, though.
Well, I don't go to Mexico to drink water, Johnstone.
I know.
I eat my vegetables, and my vegetable is called tequila. Okay. All right, so let's continue. We only have a few more minutes, but one of the other things I want y'all to consider is what I call a challenge-based approach. So for that, turn your savings into a game, turn paying down debt into a game. Example, try a no-spend January. No, January to feel like a year after Carnival. So no, let's try a no-spend match. Spend only on your necessities, where you only spend on your essentials, right? Your rent, whatever gets you to work, etc. So no extra thrills, no entertainment, no going out. Stay inside and use those subscriptions you're already paying money for, yeah? Or try a 52-week saving challenge where every week corresponds with what you save. Week 1, $1, so this week would be $1, next week would be $2. The end of the year, you'll be saving $52 in that week. And you'll see how much money you have at the end, okay? So there's really, if we don't make it so salient, if it's not so much in our face, I think we could make major strides and adjust. And I also want to encourage y'all to give yourself and invest in financial self-care. Invest in financial self-care. What do I mean by that? Treat your financial health like your physical health, like your mental health. The same way you go to a doctor, reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. If you can't get to me, reach out to Win FM and they'll get to me, right? I give advice here for free. because otherwise it would not be accessible. And the regulatory board for the ECCSR, whatever they call it, they want to charge me way too much money to operate here, so I will never open a business for financial advice and wealth management in this country because it is too expensive. And I will have to pass that cost on to the average customer, and they will not be able to afford it.
Why do you think the cost is so prohibitive from the regulator?
I cannot say that on air, Jamster,
Okay.
so I'll leave that one alone. I don't want to get y'all in trouble. So, schedule monthly money dates to review your finance. You and your partner needs to really come together. It can't just be, yeah, we go to fets, right? Or yeah, we go to eat. Or yeah, we do this, right? I need y'all to come together in a partnership financially. Sit down with each other once a month, once a quarter, twice a year, whatever it is, and just talk. Ask your partner, fellas, ask the lady, what are your financial goals? Okay? And then they do the same. You'd say to her what your financial goals are. And together come to some sort of happy medium, some happy equilibrium. Because in most cases in a relationship, you have an accountant and you have a spender. And most times, the woman is a spender, right? And the man finance that spending, either directly or indirectly. So together, I want us to come together and really put in the work to create that life that we want. You know, go to a coffee shop or go to one of these local bars and grab a drink and just talk. Just talk about, we're too separated when it comes to money in our culture. And it's too it's too taboo. And here's a point I want to make.
Is that kind of related to why it's so prohibitive to do that kind of business? It's almost as though
it's taboo.
It's almost as though they think
volume.
They think we're too stupid.
No. It's volume. The reason why it's prohibitive, the reason why the fees are high, because it's a volume issue. They do not understand. They think they're being protection. They think they're protecting the consumer by making the barrier to entry too high. But however, when I started my firm in Texas, when I started my firm in Utah, and by the way, did you see I was voted one of the best financial managers?
Yeah, of course, we talked about that.
Under 40. Yeah, okay, great, cool. Yeah, so when I did those things, you know how much it cost me to start those firms? $150. And I was managing millions of dollars. And for it to be here, minimum, there's a fee up front of like 10 grand. Then there's a fee for the advisor. And I also have to show over $250,000 in liquid assets just to offer advice.
I've always said that the central bank governor comes across as a very progressive guy. You think maybe if you had a chance to sit down with him,
I have emailed the governor several times. I've emailed the governor several times, especially when that financial literacy report came out last year, and up to yet, I'm yet to get a response. And I am not waiting on any regulator, any person in high position to do something.
So we're
progressive
doing after all.
Things. Like last year I had my essay competition. This year I'm launching books for children. I'm doing an investment competition in the region. I'm going to do my own thing because I am intentional about what I say I'm going to do. I want to change financial literacy in the region. I'm not waiting on ECCP governor or anybody else in a financial institution to help me do it. Because you know what? We talk too much. We talk. And nothing gets done. So I am going to do it myself if that's the way it has to be. I've called his office, I've sent emails, and I am not begging anyone to do what they said they wanted to do. Breathe. Anyway, the last thing, just because we have a couple minutes, I want you to have a found money strategy. Found money strategy. What does this mean? I know we didn't get a double salary this year, but you are getting... What did the government call it? A something boost, a wallet boost, the $250 a month?
Something.
So that $250 a month that you're going to get for 6 to 12 months this year, consider it to be found money. Take any unexpected income, right? Bonuses, tax refunds, gifts that you may have received from people, and assign it to a specific goal before you spend it. So that $250 that's coming in, all right, I'm going to put half of that towards this, half of that towards this. All right. If you have this goal to, you want to get something that costs $500, then that's 4 months, or it could be 2 months based on this 250. So if you receive this $250 boost, they call it like a wallet boost or something, use half maybe to pay down debt and use half to invest, or use half to put into a savings account, whatever it is. But assign a goal to it. Don't just spend it. Don't just say, you know what, I wouldn't have got this money anyway, right? So what I'm going to do with it? No, you want to have a goal for that money. And sometimes the goal is spending on enjoyment. As long as you've taken care of everything that you need to take care of, that's not a bad approach to do it, all right? But have a strategy for found money, all right? Skill monetization. Monetize your skills. We see that all around the country with people selling food. Some people are good cookers, good chefs. Some people are good bakers. Some people are good grill persons, right? And we see that monetized. But look at how you could monetize maybe being a seamstress, making candles, what else? Maybe teaching, tutoring.
Yeah, finding niches that need to be
exactly. Because we live in a gig economy. We live in a gig economy where side hustles can range from freelancing online to tutoring. In fact, you could stay in St. Kitts and teach English to somebody in China and make good money. You could stay right here in St. Kitts and teach English to somebody in China and make really good money. Or you could go on sites like Fiverr, Upwork, and so on, and you could offer your services as freelancers, not just to this local market, but to the entire world. Because that's what the person that makes my flyers live in Pakistan. Right? The person that makes any flyer for anything I do, they live in Pakistan. And it costs me $10. And if I was to ask someone in this local market how much it costs to make a flyer, minimum, it's 100 EC. But my guy in Pakistan charges me $10. All right, so monetize your skill, but understand that you're operating in a global world. Your pricing cannot be based on the person here in Bastille or over the waters in Charlestown. Your pricing has to be based on the concept of you're operating in a global market. Does that make sense? That should make sense.
Yeah, that's a pretty, I'm thinking that's a pretty radical way to look at it, because if you think about it, you're basically asking a graphic artist who might consider Fiverr or Upwork to charge $27 for something that they would normally charge maybe
but value. How many people gonna buy at 100 versus how many people would buy at 27? That's the difference. The same is true even for in your field of music, right? Like a mix or a jingle or something. Yeah, locally X could happen, but you got these people that come in here, they're now accessible. The more we travel and the more we interact with people on the outside of our borders, they're going to tell you about Fiverr. Our people will learn about Upwork, and they will go anyway. So why not compete? Expand your market. If you're good at writing business plans, you could go and write business plans for people. Not just here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but for the entire world. Because let's face it, how many people in St. Kitts have business plans? All right. So all of these together, I think these strategies could be helpful. And notice, I shied away from the traditional advice. I wanted to be creative and doing things that are not extremely overwhelming for you to participate in. But the last one I want to mention is very similar to the vision board party, and then I'll wrap up, is I want you to start a community wealth circle. Community is everything. As Black people, we're too individualistic. We do things it's just us. We just focus on ourselves. All right, I want us to then look at like-minded individuals, trusted friends, small groups, family members, people in your church, people in your nonprofit organization that you socialize with. And meet regularly, share your financial knowledge, but most importantly, hold each other accountable. Hold each other accountable. For example, the group could discuss strategies for investing, saving, or even pooling resources for a joint investment like real estate. A buddy of mine I haven't seen in 20 years, he came to St. Kitts, he saw a piece of land. The first thing he did was call and say, hey, I need to raise $1 million US. I think we should go to our classmates and try to do this. And I said, first of all, the land is overpriced. Let's start there. But other than that, let's get in like-minded people together. It's a challenge. However, it's not insurmountable if we break it down to them in a way that is palatable. All right? So that's going to be the next approach. We have a really great opportunity to acquire 4 acres of land that could be used for future real estate development. And I want to do it with my classmates. I want to do it with people I sat in class with for over 10 years. I want to do it with people I meet on the road in my community of Newtown or Lime Keel. I don't want to just do it with me and this guy because we live in the U.S. No, I want us to do it how the Indians do it, how the Asians do it. Why is it they're successful when our vendors were not? Right? Why did a shop in Newtown close down, but the Chinese supermarket open and they're thriving? Because they're working together. Community. So as we wrap up today's episode of Money Matters, again, we apologize for the late start. I'm leaving Ireland, so I won't be, I think, we'll talk Jamster and we'll set up a schedule. But I hope you found our conversation about setting the tone for 2025, both inspiring and actionable. I try to make it as simple and as palatable as possible. Remember, financial success isn't about what you earn, it's about how you manage, save, invest, and align your decisions with the life you truly want. This year is your opportunity to take control, create momentum, and build the financial future you deserve. If you miss part of today's show, it's going to be rerun on Thursday, is my understanding. You could catch that replay. I'd also love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your goals, your questions, and even your success stories. So feel free to reach out via social media to WinFM. They could get you in contact with me. So until next week, I want you to stay focused, stay intentional, and remember, every financial decision you make is a step towards the life that you want. So let's make 2025 a banger year of growth, resilience, and abundance. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Dr. Martin. This is Money Matters. And remember, it takes financial knowledge to know that you're making financial mistakes. Happy New Year and have a prosperous 2025. Take care.
Okay, and that's it for today's edition of Money Matters. Stay tuned. We got voices coming up next. It's going to fall to me to host today because Socrates won't be available today. So come back on YouTube, Facebook. Doc, don't leave yet. Come back on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and WinMediaScan.com, and of course WinFM 98.9.